Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen, who's also the host of the fastest growing YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show on YouTube, just past 100,000 subs on his own personal channel. Michael, let's just start with this question. Did you always know that Donald Trump was so profoundly weird, or has he leaned into this weirdness? Has that accelerated recently? Like when you were around him, I mean, we know the Von shits and pants, we know the smell, we've covered that ground. The weirdness, though, did you ever go home and be like, honey, this guy's weird, this guy's
Well,
weird?
he would regularly say things that were sort of odd, but not weird to the extent that we were saying. Look, I wrote about it in my book, Disloyal, where, for whatever the reason might be, somewhat racist, myself, he, and a guy who was working for him at Mar-a-Lago, he manages the place. He's of German descent. He stopped our entire conversation, which was about getting money back for an act that was not going to be able to make it for New Year's. And it was a big act. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Celine Dion, because she wasn't feeling well. And he stops the entire meeting to turn around and to say, I bet your family, he was talking to the gentleman that works for him at Mar-a-Lago, chased Michael's family through the Red Forest. And I said to him, well, boss, my father is a Holocaust survivor. And he turns around and he goes, yeah. That's why I brought it up. I mean, that was weird. It was odd. It was racist for sure. But the weirdness that's going on now, this is a whole new look. A lot of people say to me, how did you work for, the guy for over a decade when, you have all these negative things to say? In hindsight, looking back, none of it really mattered. Some of it actually we used to think was almost funny. It was almost endearing because it was sort of wacky in its own way, but it didn't have a profound effect on anybody. We just would go back afterwards. We would laugh about it. Myself and the other members, of the Trump org, we would laugh about it and, shake our heads and, go on with our daily tasks and things that we needed to do. But when you start listening to the crazy shit that he and now JD Vance, who might be the weirdest guy in all of Washington, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to end. I don't know where the middle is. I don't know when it'll be over, other than after the election when they lose. This is crazy stuff. I mean, talking about boats. He never talked about boats. The only boat I remember he ever talked about is many years ago. He had a casino boat that went under, but he talked about that as a boat. He also didn't like boats, to say, okay, great. He never talked about sharks. He didn't talk about electricity. Now you say, oh yeah, well, that's not really weird stuff, Michael, and yada yada. Well, how about when he was anti-windmill? And so he would talk about how windmills were killing birds and that, by the tens of thousands a day, and that they're noisy and that they're these big, gigantic sort of buildings in the middle of a beautiful waterway. I mean, that was just sort of weird when he would talk about the birds being slaughtered, by these windmills and so on. He's taken it. Right now, they have taken weirdness to a whole nother dimension.
It's weird, but like there are some forms of weird that's like, oh, that's a weirdo, but they're creepy weird. They're serial killer vibes weird. That's the JD Vance. It's a type of weird. So I think you start with weird, weirdo, but they're a dangerous weird. I think it's important not to give them the power. They want to be called strong and alpha and authoritarian. They're the opposite of that. Alphas don't go around calling themselves alphas. This whole thing, this whole JD Vance new iteration of his identity, right? He's changed his name now 3 times. Just think about that. JD Vance, he's changed his name 3 times. And he's had 4 major personality changes. So he grew up as a gay child. And then he said, well, now I'm a hillbilly anti-Trumper. And then he became like kind of a right-winger, but still a never-Trumper. Then a full-fledged kind of MAGA Trumper. Those were the 4 different kind of phases of his life. And he's like, changed his identity so much. Go back and watch the interviews before he had the beard, and take a look at the interviews that he did when he was the anti-Trump fake hillbilly, even though he grew up in the suburbs of Cincinnati. And you look at it and you're like, this is still very weird because you're not what you're even saying you are then. And so then you realize he changed his names. 4 months ago, he posted that he was like Googling like dolphin porn, and it's like some weird stuff. Here's the I'm saying this in the context of the politics, Michael. Here's the latest clip of him that was unearthed. Let's play it.
Right, there's just these basic cadences of life that I think are really powerful and really, really valuable when you have kids in your life. And the fact that so many people, especially in America's leadership class, just don't have that in their lives, I worry that it makes people more sociopathic and ultimately our whole country a little bit less less mentally stable. And of course, you talk about going on Twitter. Final point I'll make is you go on Twitter, and almost always the people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
He's diagnosing himself, right? Let's be clear. People who like hillbillies don't say the basic cadences of life. Okay. He's referring to his various personality changes when he talks about sociopaths, while he is placing that on his misogynistic rants. He knows that he's the sociopath. So he's now, in taking this other identity, has found the other in his misogynism as he goes after childless cat ladies and says they're the threat to democracy. He's the threat to democracy. And he's stepping in this weird right-wing echo chamber circle on Twitter, by the way, where he goes, the most deranged people on Twitter are people like you who are Googling dolphin porn. Michael Cohen.
Yeah, and listen, first and foremost, the only person that I could think of that has changed their identity more than JD Vance is George Santos. And as we all know, George Santos is just weird. Now, what's very funny is a friend of mine, she's actually a major brigader here on Political Beatdown, and she was actually one of the first that joined me on my YouTube journey, the Michael Cohen Show, my friend Cheyenne from Hawaii. And she sent me this very funny thing. And I you know what, we're always so serious on the show. Well, maybe Ben is, I'm not. But, one of the things that she sent to me was 5 ways that cats are better than kids. Right? Basically, and I'm going to post this because I think it's just kind of funny. The first one is that 95% of the time, a cat will take care of itself. And the second is a good cat can be litter trained in a matter of weeks. You have to clean the box, but that beats dirty diapers. All right. Not as good as the first one. Then the third is in their teenage years, a cat is never going to tell you that they hate you and you ruin their life before going out to break curfew and sneak alcohol or with drugs. Also, the fourth one is no one ever spent 6 figures sending their feline to college. That's my favorite one of them all. And last but not least, number 5, even a mean cat will never shame you for not having a kid or suggest you deserve higher taxes for being a fur parent. Though they won't hesitate to look at you like you're a pile of shit on the side of the road as soon as you're 5 minutes late with third breakfast. But you should have done a better job being on time. anyway. So those are the 5 ways that cats are better than children. And I just thought it was extremely funny. And being that we're always so serious on the show, I thought it'd be a little comical. So thank you, Cheyenne, for that.
Here's what Jesse Waters had to say last night on Fox. Let's take a look at Jesse Waters' intro. Let's play this clip.
So how do they distract us from talking about her record? They're accusing JD Vance of having sex with a couch. Not on a couch, with a couch. It's a weird thing to do. And now they're calling him weird. Our eyes are wide open. And if you're going to accuse someone of having sex with a couch, you better have video.
That is how Jesse Waters started the segment. Now, we know that Shady
You know what's
Vance...
funny, Ben, before you get into it, the funny thing is if you have to defend it, that's a problem in and of itself. I mean, nobody's ever accused you of having sex with a couch, right?
No one's ever made that accusation, Michael Cohen.
Right. My point being, if you have to defend it, you know that there's an issue. Plain and simple. And it's just weird.
We've been calling out the weird GOP now for 4 years here. And one of the things I said, because I'm not a political person, I interned on the Hill when I was in college and I gave Capitol Hill tours, but that's the extent of my, real involvement in politics. So when I stepped into this, I thought I had to pick a team, right? I thought I'm this team, I'm that team. I knew right away I was repulsed by MAGA, but then it became clear to me that MAGA and conservative are not the same thing. And the language that the media was using to refer to these MAGA Republicans as conservative, I'm like, they're not conservative, they're weird. And my political journey made it very clear that what I was focused more on was the human element of this versus the teams of it, and the pro-democracy lined up more with the Democratic Party and, certain values and principles that matter to me. But one of the things we were always focusing on, I'm like, this isn't a political thing. What they're talking about in this right-wing echo chamber is weird. So this is a video we did about 2.5 years ago, Michael Cohen. We called it Weird GOP, and it holds up to this day. You all may remember this video. Let's play it.
Problem is they are a weird political party.
M&Ms will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing, until the moment you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them.
These 26 QAnon people.
Q is a patriot.
QAnon believers lined up on the grassy knoll. It's the site of the JFK assassination. They believed that the president's late son, JFK Jr., would miraculously appear and that he would help Donald Trump take back power.
I want to talk about the real pandemic, child sex trafficking. By putting masks on these kids' face, you guys support sex trafficking.
Have you been a good little Nazi? It's not necessarily the extreme. I mean, these are people that talk about testicle tanning.
Testicle tanning.
It's testicle tanning.
Half the viewers right now are like, what? That's testicle tanning? That's crazy. But my view is, okay, testosterone levels crash and nobody says anything about it. That's crazy.
By and large, a large part of the Republican Party is just out and out weird.
Then all of a sudden you get invited to, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. Yeah. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy.
Yeah. You got a lot of really crazy people.
The frontrunners of the Ohio Republican Senate race got into a heated fight. When do we invade Australia and free an oppressed people?
In Florida, the state education department rejected more than 50 math textbooks for promoting critical race theory.
The Democrats are the party of princess predators from Disney.
Disney stepping in saying, in every episode now they're going to have Mickey and Pluto going at it. Really?
No more Disney World! DeSantis land!
The antidote that we've seen now is urine therapy.
Satan's controlling the church.
Calling gingerbread men a gingerbread person when obviously they're men.
Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss.
Wind. They say the noise causes cancer.
So absolutely normal. Yep.
They're really like odd ducks.
And that was the epiphany I had, when we stepped into politics was whoa. That's called weird. That's just not even that shouldn't be a political party. All Americans should look at that and go, what?
Yeah, and instead they're not looking and saying what? They're looking and saying, oh yeah, I could support that. I support Donald Trump and the GOP. I'm MAGA. When you let me be very clear. These folks that are walking around with these MAGA hats and so on, all you're doing is telling the world that you're a racist. All you're doing is telling the world that you're sexist, that you're a misogynist, that you're a xenophobe, a homophobe, an Islamophobe, an anti-Semite. It basically, the MAGA hat, the MAGA flag has replaced the Confederate flag. So instead of now seeing the American flag on one side of the Ford F-150 pickup truck and a Confederate flag on the other side, now you see the American flag on one side and a MAGA flag or a Trump 2024 flag. It's the same thing on the other side. That's what it's become. And they want you to know who they are. They want you to fear them, though there's no reason to fear them. They're all a bunch of talk with no brains within which to execute anything anyway. Now, sure, you'll have your lone wolf, like this idiot that decided to take a shot at Donald Trump at that rally. That's a whole nother story. You know, they keep calling it as an assassination, conspiracy or an assassination attempt. This is one lone wolf doing something despicable, stupid, un-American, etc. But this wasn't a plot, which is the way that Fox and OAN and Newsmax and Trump's social media platforms that they're trying to put out, that there was a plot to kill Donald Trump. A plot, some fucking idiot 20-year-old kid who, with a ladder and a rifle. I mean, come on. There's no plot that was here. This is just, and again, why are they doing it? I don't know. Just everything that they keep doing is just stranger and stranger, from the boats to the batteries to the sharks to the electrocution to being eaten by sharks as opposed to being electrocuted, to racism and diet Mountain Dew, not even regular Mountain Dew, diet Mountain Dew. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. They're just fucking weird. So that's really what MAGA now stands for. It's just weird.
Our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, posted the following yesterday. He just wrote, I remain confused by this idea of Trump and Trumpers that this incident, the shooting incident, is going to win the election for them. A Republican kid clipped his ear. Everyone in the country saw the pic. It was on every single news channel in America, nonstop for days. Trump thinks that if people see it more, he wins. And that is profoundly weird, because one of the things that Donald Trump keeps on posting, he says Facebook has just admitted that it wrongly censored the Trump attempted assassination photo and got caught. Same thing for Google. They made it virtually impossible to find pictures or anything about this heinous act. Both are facing big backlash over censorship claims. Here we go again, another attempt at rigging the election. Go after Meta and Google. Let them know we are all wise to them. We will be much tougher this time. MAGA 2024. So to your point, Cohen, a plot by a lone wolf, 20-year-old disgusting human being who was shot and killed after he did the assassination attempt. This disturbed individual, he's a Republican, right? He had Trump signs on his yard. It's still a very serious issue, right? I mean, whether the bullet grazed or a fragment or metal or it's still a very serious issue. Mm-hmm. But why does MAGA then have to be like they were coming after him and make it into a deranged conspiracy and then say, well, now they're rigging the election. Now Google and Meta, they're involved in a plot with the FBI director who Donald Trump appointed to try to stop Trump by not showing photos of the shooting. Like, what are you even talking about?
They're not talking. That's the problem. They're not talking about anything because, Ben, they have nothing to talk about. That's the whole issue. Donald doesn't want to talk about the economy. He doesn't want to talk about Russia and Ukraine. He doesn't want to talk about Israel and Hamas, or now what just took place in the Golan Heights. He'll make these very profound global statements. I'm against shooting of the rockets into Golan Heights, or the killing. Good for him. Thank you for doing that. Right? It's very much appreciated. But now here's the tougher question, because I hope that we all believe that firing rockets into a playground area or a soccer field and taking the lives of innocent children on either side of that border is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. All right. He has no answer as to what needs to be done, what could be done, what should be done to correct the situation. And it doesn't stop there. It stops with every single thing that he touches. When he turns around and says, we need to build the wall, we need to round up, these 10 million illegal, immigrants that are in the United States, some of whom already are citizens or they have green cards, doesn't make a difference. He doesn't believe that they went through the process correctly, that we need to build internment camps. What these are just, again, racist tropes. They are immigrant phobic tropes. Why? Because it plays to his base. And you know what, Ben? That's all he's got. And it is repulsive.
It's a great point that he doesn't want to talk about issues. So if he can focus on whatever culture war or distraction and make it about that, he can just try to be in news cycles without actually answering, well, hey, what's your healthcare policy? What's your infrastructure plan? What's your plan for veterans? Because there is none. And if there is one, it's to hurt people. Let's take our first quick break, but I want to remind everyone, Michael Cohen's YouTube page is crushing it. 100,000 subs in under 30 days at The Michael Cohen Show. If you want to subscribe for free. Also, Michael Cohen hosted a Patreon Zoom chat last week at patreon.com/political beatdown. So you all got to meet Michael Cohen and ask him questions. So we will be doing another Zoom meeting soon. Sign up. We don't have outside investors. So if you want to help grow this independent media platform, patreon.com/political beatdown. We'll be right back after our first quick ad break of the show.
So last night, I went out for dinner with my wife to this incredible Italian restaurant called San Sabino. I mean, just amazing culinary experience. And if you've got culinary taste like I do, then you know how expensive exploring your local food scene can get, and how hard it is sometimes to find the time or really the energy to go try someplace new. Cook Unity is the first chef-to-use service delivering locally sourced meals from award-winning chefs right to your door every single week. And it's cheaper than any other delivery options. So go to cookunity.com/beat or enter code BEAT before checkout for 50% off your first week. So look, let me talk to you about what I ordered. All right. When I went ahead and I tried Cook Unity, I ordered grilled spicy salmon bowl. And in it was spicy salmon with mixed vegetables and sushi rice with sriracha and this ponzu aioli. I mean, I'm drooling thinking about just how good it was. I mean, it was beyond good. All right. Without even mentioning anything, this experience, the type of food that you get, is better than anything that I order in when I just don't feel like really going out. And remember something, there's no cooking required for a chef quality dining experience right at your home with Cook Unity. Unlike other meal services, Cook Unity, it's a chef collective bringing exciting culinary talents to your table. Cook Unity works with some of the best chefs in the country to bring you creative, delicious meals every single week. And again, right to your door. Every single meal is handcrafted by chefs, and it's made in local micro kitchens, not these large production facilities. And remember something too, your food arrives fresh, never frozen in packaging that keeps meals in the fridge for up to 7 days. No, fresh. It arrives fresh. Cook Unity packaging, it's compostable, it's recyclable, and it's reusable. You pick as few as 4 or as many as 16 meals per week. I mean, talk about options. I mean, there are hundreds of dishes to choose from, and the menu is regularly updated. It's updated constantly. I mean, there are seven different dietary preferences that you could choose from. Vegan, paleo, pescatarian, gluten-free, and more. I mean, filter for soy, nut or dairy-free options in case you have allergies. Menus are posted 2 weeks in advance so that you have plenty of time to choose. So right now, I want you to go and experience chef-quality meals every single week, delivered right to your door. So go to cookunity.com/beat and enter code BEAT, B-E-A-T, before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code BEAT, B-E-A-T, and going to cookunity.com/beat. That's COOKUNITY.com/beat. 50% off your first week. Go now.
That was a very, very, very powerful ad.
Oh, yeah, brother. You got to go to Cook Unity. Yeah, brother.
You were very specific in the food choice, the recipe. It was very impressive, Mike. Going, all right, let me just show you some of the latest polls. This has Donald Trump melting down. The latest Redfield Wilton poll has Vice President Kamala Harris up 2 in a general election. You have the Florida Atlantic Main Street USA poll also has Vice President Kamala Harris up 2. And then when you go into some of the swing states, like this new Pennsylvania poll by Susquehanna, one of the better polls in Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris is almost leading outside of the margin of error. She is up 4 points there. Right now, as we are live, you have JD Vance is actually competing with our live right now. 118 people are watching the Shady
Oh,
Vance.
yeah, brother. That's because you get the truth over here at the Midas Touch Network.
You're doing the Hulk impression, and it is worth mentioning over and over again when we talk about the weirdness of this GOP, how strange it is. The fact that on the main night of the Republican National Convention, that's the big night where you bring out who is it that represents the future of your party. That is a statement speech, right? We've looked back historically at that night, the final night of the Republican National Convention. So Donald Trump brings out Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan gives the speech where he rips off his shirt and is like, oh yeah, the Hulkster's here, and the Hulkster is gonna rip you to shreds if you don't vote for the Trumpster. And I'm sitting there and I am watching this thing. And I feel like I am alone in my Midas Mighty Island, and everybody else has become like, I don't even know what. I'm like, please.
Okay, so Ben, you got to tell the truth, though. He was by himself watching the show, holding on to his Hulk Hogan pillow that he had when he was like 9 years old, right? You know what I'm talking about? And he was sitting there and it was like, you know what? No more pillow for me. I mean, that was the stupidest, weirdest thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
And then the corporate media that had to cover it, they were acting like it was normal. They were like, well, Hulk Hogan just delivered a very powerful speech on the floor here in Minnesota. I'm like, what? A powerful speech?
Yeah, right.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. What are we talking about?
I couldn't believe it, too. And they were like, one of the most powerful speeches tonight came from Hulk Hogan, who was there representing Donald Trump. And in this speech, and you're sitting there, you're like, wait, you're joking, right? I mean, we're talking about a character who represents fake wrestling. Not that he's not athletic, don't get me wrong. Not that for his age or any age, by the way, he's in great shape. Nobody's talking about that. But we're talking about whoever thought that you would see a WWE character, which is what he is, a WWE character on the stage for an election, an RNC election night. I mean, this was just, this was just weird. I mean, it is the right word to constantly use. This is just weird shit.
You know, one of the other things I've used to describe these rallies is WWE cosplay fascism. So for those who have watched Beatdown and the Midas Touch Network for 4 years, I've been saying that's WWE cosplay fascism. And then he brings on a WWE cosplay fascist performance at the Republican National Convention. And I'm like, it's almost worse than fascism because they're fascist like fanboys. They're like wannabes. And they look up to the Vladimir Putins and the Kim Jong-uns and the people of that ilk, and they think that's like good. It makes it even worse in my mind. New polls just coming out, Michael Cohen. This is from Bloomberg. Vice President Kamala Harris wipes out Donald Trump's lead in all battleground states. She's up in Michigan. She's up in Arizona, up in Nevada, tied in Georgia, and just down 2 in North Carolina. So if things stay the same, Michael Cohen, that's going to be a very strong victory for Vice President Kamala Harris. And more breaking news, a video of Shans has just been unearthed moments ago by Vice President Kamala Harris's team. Let's play it. This just dropped moments ago. Let's play the clip.
But you know what I find so disturbing about this is if you think about the modern Democrat Party, not the older guys, the Clintons, the Bernie Sanders, the Joe Bidens, but think about Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, all of these people. It's like a party where the next generation of leaders, none of them have kids, right? And look, like I understand some people don't have kids. There are health reasons. There are other reasons people don't have kids. But the entire Democrat Party is like this childless cabal of people who don't really care about the future. And when you call that out, they get so alienated and they get so angry at you that they just start throwing words like racist around. And I think that's what's really going on.
But unearthed moments ago.
Let me just start by saying to all of the folks that are out there, despite the fact that I'm a Democrat virtually my entire life, I apologize really to the American people on behalf of JD Vance for his stupidity, his ignorance, his buffoonery, and for just being an all-around fucking prick. There's nothing else that we can do other than to excuse it. He's just a dumb prick, plain and simple. As my grandparents would turn around, he's just a fucking putz. That's what they would turn around and say. He's a fucking putz. He is who he is. And the fact that Kamala is only up by 2, 3 points, 4 points in some places is shocking to me. When you're dealing with 2 buffoons on the other side, 2, it's not just 1. Well, Michigan, she's got a hefty lead there in that poll. And here again, it's, +2, +3. I don't understand. I don't understand what these people are thinking. It makes no sense to me at all. Let me go one step even further. Something that Donald Trump himself came out and said in one of his rallies just the other day. He turned around and he said, when he was talking to a bunch of Christians, he goes, I love the Christians, love the Christians. He goes, you got to vote for me. Christians have to vote for me. And if they vote for me, you don't have to worry. You'll never have to vote again, and so on. Do you not understand that this buffoon just told you what is in the back of his mind. It's not as if he's just randomly talking. It's, again, he has diarrhea of the mouth. He doesn't know what to say, so he says whatever's in the back of his head.
Hey, Michael Cohen, let me show that clip right here. We have it just so people can see exactly what he says. Let's play that clip, Jeremy.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
We'll have it fixed. You're not going to have to vote. Listen, Christians, last time you will ever need to vote. But by the way, Michael Cohen, that was not on any A1 newspaper at all.
No.
How could that not make the front cover? Hey, in a major political party, its leader just said he wants to fix the election so that there's no more elections ever happening.
Ben, something that I've said to you and to our brigaders so many times already now, there was a sentence or a statement that was made by Putin that Donald thought, and you've heard me say this before, so it's not that I'm saying it because it's expedient, that it's suited for this occasion. No, I've said it so many times before. He used to repeat this one statement that Putin put out, which is, it doesn't matter who you vote for. All that matters is who's counting the vote. And that's what he's talking about in this clip that Ben just showed. For me, that Ben, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to turn around and say, how is it that nobody is talking about this? How is it that nobody is yelling from the rooftops that the nominee for one of our 2 political parties is telling you, vote for me in 2024. You're never going to have to vote again. We're going to have it so fixed, so fixed, so fixed. You know, I don't understand why that's not, as you just said, on the front page of every newspaper, why it's not on the front of every single digital paper, why it's not on the front of every single digital platform, why every single television station is not running that 24/7. In fact, I'll go one step even further. I don't understand why an ad has not already been put together by Kamala Harris's team and just put it out there. And every single day, every day at 6 a.m., hit the fucking enter button and send the same video out to every single person every single day. And the very last line in there, if you care about our democratic republic, vote Harris 2024. Plain and simple.
I'll give you these data points, though, Michael Cohen. 2.7 million. That's the number of subscribers to the Midas Touch YouTube channel. We hit 2.7 million moments ago during our live. 4 billion. We've gotten over 4 billion views over the past 2.5 years here at the Midas Touch YouTube channel. 4 billion. And the reason is because we talk about these things and people realize, hey, corporate media, you're going to talk about it? No? Okay, you know, we care about these things, and they're talking about it over here at the Midas Touch Network. So we're going to go there so that we could actually get data points and information. Like, look, we prepared this video about Donald Trump's steep cognitive decline that corporate media still refuses to talk about. Let's play it, Jeremy.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, sir, don't dignify it with a rebuttal.
Have you been noticing peculiar behavior recently in someone you know?
Carried out by Ray.
Someone who mixes fiction and reality?
The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man.
Perhaps someone of advanced age you have known for years.
Did you just see Maduro? Venezuela, it's unbelievable, Venezuela.
Of course, we all have our goofs. But consistently odd behavior can be a sign of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative disease of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain that dramatically impairs cognitive function. And there are some key signs to look out for, like slurring words.
The failing New York Times by anonymous.
Struggling to find the correct words is another sign.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges of the investigation.
You may also notice someone veering into incoherent ideas detached from reality.
You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Or an inability to complete simple sentences.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Other notable symptoms include impaired motor function, such as a wavering limb, and decreased balance, often accompanied by a signature lean or arched stance. If someone you know is demonstrating several or all of these symptoms, they are seriously unwell. As a matter of safety, they must be relieved of critical responsibilities and disqualified from any position of authority. Remember, frontotemporal dementia is a degenerative disease. Cognitive function will never return and will only deteriorate further. Don't ignore the signs.
I want to remind everybody about Michael Cohen's YouTube channel, at The Michael Cohen Show. They got over 100,000 subs there in under 30 days. So make sure you subscribe. It's at The Michael Cohen Show. Tell others about the Midas Touch Network. Don't worry, we still have a lot more show to go. I want to talk about Vice President Kamala Harris going on the offense. She says that she's going to show up to the September 10th debate on ABC, and she will debate an empty podium and call out Donald Trump as a coward if he refuses to show. Let's talk about that. Let's take our last quick ad break of the show.
I've been trying to lead a heart-healthy lifestyle, but finding the energy to keep up healthy changes, like exercise, has been an uphill battle. We often think that living a more heart-healthy life means making big, unsustainable changes. With Super Beats Heart Chews, you can get daily blood pressure support in just 2 tasty chews a day. And they even promote heart-healthy energy without the stimulants. So paired with a healthy lifestyle, the antioxidants in Super Beats are clinically shown to be nearly 2 times more effective at promoting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone, something that I desperately need. I mean, I feel more energy than ever without the dips that we're all used to with coffee and energy drinks. Nothing is better than supporting my blood pressure and being able to have the energy to make the changes that I know are crucial. So double your potential with Super Beats Heart Chews and get a free 30-day supply of Super Beats Heart Chews on all bundles, plus 15% off your first order by going to GetSuperBeats.com. That's GetSuperBeets.com and using code BEAT, B-E-A-T. That's GetSuperBeats, BEETS.com, code BEAT.
A new poll.
By the way, there's just too much beating going on down there. They should use code Cohen. It'd make it easier for doing these ads.
You know what?
I love my Super Beats. I actually do. I just got the new ones, which are great.
Too much beating
versus pomegranate. I love the pomegranate, but the grape one is really delicious too. It almost reminds me of like one of those grape lollipops.
A new poll just dropped over the break. Kamala Harris up 11 in Michigan, according to the Morning Consult poll in Michigan, up 11, and this is one of the
Morning Consult poll. It's a legitimate poll. It's a poll, legitimate.
I want to show you this though, because doesn't this tell you who Donald Trump is? I mean, this is from the events that he was speaking at, where he constantly would give shout outs to Laura Loomer. And Laura Loomer, far right-wing extremist. She follows Donald Trump around from event to event. She's got like a front row seat there at the Republican National Convention as Hulk Hogan was ripping off his shirt. Donald Trump constantly praises her in speeches. She may get a cabinet level position. She definitely would have a major position in a Trump administration. I think that's undisputed. And there's really not anyone Donald Trump praises more than her. He tells people, you're getting Loomered. He did it again this weekend. Let me just show you what he said. Let's play this clip.
Really taken the country by storm. Very powerful person, very strong person, very courageous person, a warrior. Laura Loomer. Laura, where are you? Thank you, Laura. Great job you do.
And here are the types of
despicable human just a despicable human being.
Well, she's been posting stuff like this over and over again. And it's hard for me to even read this, but I have to report the news and what it is that she's saying. So she says all this stuff, and then Donald Trump reposts her. She says things like, I'm happy to see Joe Biden suffering. It makes me happy to know he's going to have a terrible time in his final days in office. I'm happy his wife gets to watch him rot away like the trash pile he is and always has been. Today is a very satisfying day for me. Here's what she says about Vice President Kamala Harris. Did you know that Kamala Harris was once an escort and that she got her career started giving, she uses another word for oral sex, to be successful to rich black men? She sucked. You keep, I don't even want to read the rest of it, but she's been saying posts like this. And then Donald Trump then says, she's great. She's doing fantastic work. And again, another corporate media fail. How do you not call that out? I mean, he's clearly praising her for saying things like this.
She's a trash bag. That's the only thing. She's just a trash bag.
But here's the thing. You don't while she doesn't deserve the attention, he deserves to be called out for adopting what she is saying as his own, which shows you the type of people he surrounds himself with and the type of decision-making that's happening. What do you make of Vice President Kamala Harris's move, though, saying, all right, you can unilaterally cancel debates, Donald, but I'm going to be there. Remember when Senator Ossoff debated the empty podium in Georgia? Then he called out Chicken Perdue for not showing up, David Perdue. What do you think is going to happen on September 10th, Michael Cohen? Do you think Trump shows up or she will debate an empty podium?
No, I think he realizes that it's too close to the final days of the upcoming, to the election. It'll be about 5 weeks out. There's not enough preparation. Not enough preparation that's for sure. But there's not enough preparation that Donald can do in order to get himself comfortable that he could stand his own. The best he could do is a equal, not a win, because he's not going to win in the debate against Kamala. That's just not going to happen. The best he could do would be to hold his own. But here's the problem. She's not Joe Biden. She comes from a different generation. She comes from our generation, where there's a certain way about us. We're not there to listen to the bullshit, and we're just as happy to revert back to our earlier years, right? When you have to attack somebody for lying. And she is spot on. She knows her facts. She has great memory recall. Every time he says something, she's going to pounce on him, and he knows it. So instead, he's going to look to turn around, and he's going to try to come up with the thing that there's no reason for me to debate her, that she's not worth it, she shouldn't be even the nominee, that Joe Biden chickened out, yada, yada, yada. And he's going to say, I have more important things to do, to talk to people, who are our voters, and this is all a waste because everybody's against him. He'll make up 1,001 different excuses why not to. And I hope and I pray that they continue to do those debates. In fact, right after the September 10th debate, where it will be Kamala talking to an empty podium. I think what she should do is come out with one of those cardboard cutouts of Donald and have him stand there. The same way that there's this fool in a Bentley convertible that drives around and he has a Donald life-size statue or a mannequin in his car, and he drives around with this. It's here we go again. It's fucking weird. It makes no sense. Look, I talk about all this, by the way, Ben, on my Midas, Midas is the one hosting it now, but my Mea Culpa podcast, the one with the blue background. I have an incredible guest on right now. It dropped this morning, actually yesterday, Suzanne Kiampour, and she's a BBC journalist. I got her. She's in Cyprus right now. It is truly an incredible conversation because she's nonpartisan. She's absolutely, it's a Bentley, not a Rolls. Okay, either one. She's nonpartisan, but it is a hour-long conversation, very much like what Ben and I do here, where we just smack it home. There's no bullshit. You're not getting innuendo. You're not getting speculation. What we do is we take the facts. We take the facts and we run with it. And I run with it based upon my decade and a half relationship to this man, to this guy who has become legitimately the worst version of himself imaginable. I mean, he's so out of touch with even himself. People who know him well, are all saying the same thing. It's just not the same Donald Trump. He was always sort of like that, we'll call it he's just become like a villain. I mean, he's become the villain of the story. And let's not let him make the story about America. All right. That's the one thing we have to ensure that we don't, that he's not the villain of the American story, meaning that we don't end up losing our democratic republic, that our Constitution, all right, the most important document that we have that makes us who we are, we cannot under any circumstance allow him. Seriously, we cannot allow him to interfere in what we know is right.
Here was Donald Trump. He went on Laura Ingraham yesterday, and she said, well, then why not debate her? Here was Donald Trump's response. Let's play it.
I want to do a debate, but I also can say this. Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
And why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything.
And now, instead of debating...
By the way, can we break that down for just 2 seconds, Ben? What do they know? What do any of us, including the MAGA trolls and that want to sit here in our comments, what do they know about Donald Trump's border policy? What do they know? That he wants to round people up and put them in internment camps? Can you imagine, Ben, how that debate would go? And that's why all he can do is throw out these sort of general things. Oh, she's a lefty loser. She's a radical left. She wants open borders. No, she doesn't. That's another lie. And she'll call him out on it.
And here's what he's doing now, like just throughout the day, it's post. And it's posts like this, which are just so bizarre. Enemy of the people. And he reposts QAnon type accounts on his social media platform. It's the behavior is weird, and no offense to babies, because babies act more mature. It's just it's just weirdo stuff. It's like you're supposed to be the leader of a major political party. At a bare minimum, you should behave like a mature adult and carry yourself a certain way and act civilly and responsibly. He could not get a job with that behavior at any place, whether it's a for-profit, non-profit. If he behaved that way at a social organization, unless it was Weirdos R Us, you'd be like, this person needs to like get out of here, like restraining order stuff, like get this person out of here. You know, someone who's found liable for sexual assault. Imagine someone found liable for sexual assault applies for a job, period, get alone the CEO position. Then layer on top of that, convicted felon. And then there's audio of the individual bragging about sexually assaulting women, someone who's bankrupted like 5 to 7 different entities, you know, over time, and whose companies have all been destroyed over and over again. And this is the person that MAGA Republicans want to give the nuclear codes to now. Compare that to this, the Biden-Harris record right here, which I think is always important that we talk about as well, because it's significant. Most Americans in 2024 working ever. Most new factory construction ever. Booming economic growth. Record high stock market up 60%. Wages growing faster than inflation. Inflation, by the way, is down to the Fed target. Capped insulin prices at $35 for seniors. Record high U.S. oil production. New veterans health law, new infrastructure law. Air travel at record high. Inflation down to 2.7%, violent crime down, gas under $3. America is kicking ass, or as Governor Josh Shapiro of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania says, stop shit talking America.
Yep.
Stop it and cut it out. There's a lot that needs to be improved. We get that, but we love our country. We love our flag. Stop shit talking the United States of America, MAGA, and Donald Trump. Give you the final 2-finger salute opportunity right now, Michael.
You know, the problem again is that there's so many people who deserve the 2-finger salute, but I just can't stop thinking about this childless cat lady comment by JD Vance. It really bothers me to my core. And, you know, I know many women who have struggled with reproduction. And, you know, this is a very personal issue to many different people. And so on behalf of all of them, I just think it's important that we just never forget, ever forget what he said and how he said it, and the attempt to denigrate all women, not just Kamala Harris, but all women, makes him absolutely right for today's 2-finger salute. So JD Vance, fuck you, you scumbag, you fucking putz.
JD Vance gets the 2-finger salute by Michael Cohen. Once again, JD Vance gets the 2-finger salute. Michael Cohen, great doing Political Beatdown.
And great seeing all our brigaders.
Everybody, make sure you all subscribe to @The Michael Cohen Show on YouTube. Let's get you to 1 million subscribers soon. Let's get you to 1 million. Do we have that photo of JD Vance, by the way, Jeremy? Do we have that? There's JD Vance.
You heard that all the couches at Jennifer Convertible, they're all on strike right now.
Just leave that up, right? Just leave that photo. Just leave that photo up right there, Jeremy. It's @The Michael Cohen.
And let's also not forget about Patreon. Let's do another Patreon beginning of next week.
I like that. Patreon.com/political beatdown. Patreon.com/political beatdown. One more time with the photo. Thank you for watching Political Beatdown. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers. Let's keep calling them out, folks. Let's win it for democracy. Let's win it for normalcy. See you next time on Political Beatdown. Have a wonderful day.